place where you belong. Give you strength to carry on. Open your heart, set your mind at ease. Live your life and you'll be free. We're gonna rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise,
Good evening, all. Welcome to the Toon review for tonight's match preview. Of course, Newcastle going to Craven Cottage, taking on Fulham. Stato, you just joined us while the intro was starting there. Good to see you, my man. Very big game for Newcastle. Lots of talking points about who he's going to play, you know, who's going to start, who isn't going to start. It looks like Alexander Isak is not going to be playing in the game. He is injured, so it's a question of who does he play up front. I think we all know which way he's going to go, but we'll talk about that soon. If you do enjoy tonight's show, as usual, please give it the thumbs up, guys. And if you're new, come and join this amazing community on the Toon Review by hitting that subscribe button. Free to do so, and also hit that bell to notify you when we go live or we upload any videos. You can support the channel in two ways, of course. First is by membership, hitting that join button just underneath us, and of course super chats, which is the $sign at the bottom of the live chat, and that will guarantee your comments to be read out on the show. Good evening, chaps.
Good evening, and good evening to all those in Viewerland.
So, Fulham, 3 o'clock kickoff, of course, on Saturday. We start our match day live show at 2:30, full uninterrupted live commentary of the game. And, well, again, we're facing an injury dilemma. Billy, Mr. Isak, we all thought it was to do with getting hit by the ball in the head. He's got a toe injury. What kind of toe injury? We're not sure. I don't know whether Eddie will answer that in more detail tomorrow. You know, in his press conference, I'm not sure, but a toe injury, Billy.
Yeah, he's a doubt, isn't he, for Saturday? I imagine the question will be asked tomorrow at the press conference, whether we get a straight answer out of Eddie, another kettle of fish. But hopefully he can get through it and play, because, you know, we need an Alexander Isak firing on full cylinders, and we haven't seen that this season as yet. So hopefully he can get himself fit, and hopefully he can play and get back into the form that we know he can do.
Christopher says, have you watched Tyneside Life's latest video? No.
I watched it earlier. It was very good, I've got to say.
Okay. I guess it must be some kind of, I don't know if it's a stubbed toe, Alex, or anything like that. But remember last season, a certain Harvey Barnes injured his toe, and we were told that it wasn't serious, and he missed half the season. Does it worry you?
Well, I mean, it doesn't. It wasn't, but now you're saying things like that. It is. So,
I'm a doommonger. Ooh.
Yeah, you're being the opposite of a happy clapper now. Let's
yes,
not
I
do
am
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the ball has grazed his nose and face, and somehow injured his toe. So, yeah. Again, I'm probably being too honest and too harsh here, but I really am absolutely sick of journalists getting the inside scoops on everything. Not that I want it. I don't want it at all. I don't think these things should be coming out. I think they need to be. This needs to be discovered in the press conferences, because obviously I don't know why clubs are okay with this. I appreciate that sometimes clubs do want to release certain things to the press on purpose.
Yeah.
However, the fact that just everything gets out constantly, immediately to most of the journalists, like we all knew that Isak was potentially not going to be involved, but we thought it was because of this blurred vision, concussion protocol-y kind of scenario. So the fact that I'm not going to name, well, we all know who it is, but a certain journalist knows, I don't like that they do know. I want those, whoever the moles are within the club, I want them out. I want them fired. I don't want everything being released to the press constantly.
I want them fired, and I've been a too much.
I personally think it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous that everything constantly gets out of the club, because I appreciate that the club do release things on purpose, but there's clearly loads of things that keep just getting out and out and out. How are they getting out? Who's telling everybody?
Well, I have a feeling I know what Eddie's going to say in the press conference tomorrow. He'll see later on today. That's normally what he says.
Can I add to that as well, just so we don't get in trouble?
2 seconds, Alex. Chris Lynch has sent a super chat in saying, just seen the video of Sindre Wale Ageli, or whatever his name is, on YouTube. He looks special. We'll chat about him a bit later. Ian Fleming, thank you for your super chat. Just want to say R.I.P. to Steve Hardwick. Remember watching him in the 80s. Yeah, of course, it sadly passed away.
Been a few this week, haven't I? I mean, Toto Scalacci went yesterday. Gary Shaw earlier in the week. Been a bit of a rough week for ex-footballers.
It has. Dr. House, who's been a member for 18 months on the channel, thank you so much for your support, mate. Hey, lads, love the channel as always. Hopefully, Isak is back soon. Sorry, Alex, go on.
I just want to say I'm not criticising the journalists on this point. They're just doing their job. They want stories and interesting things to report on. That's all they're doing. I just don't like that it seems to be so easy for people who are established journalists to just constantly get everything. They know who accidentally sneezed a bit too hard on a Sunday morning. They know everything. And I think it's too much. I feel like within the club, there needs to be more that's done. Like who's leaking all this stuff?
Yeah, and on the other hand, now Eddie Howe might be deliberately releasing this to play with Marco Silva to prepare for a side without having to do that.
100% agreed. There's clearly stuff that is intentionally leaked, but there's far too much that just comes out, and it's surely this needs to stop. You don't get it in any other business. It's mental.
No. Conor Mattia, thank you for your super chat. Great breakdown of Longstaff's contract extension. Kevin Greener, thank you for your super chat, buddy. Not keen on the comedy clips of listen, can I just make a point on that? Okay. I totally understand where everybody's coming from. It was just a one-off. Okay, it was a one-off because I just was editing. I wanted to see how long putting clips into my videos would take me. If I wanted to insert anything in there in the future of a sort of more professional nature. It was just a test run, okay? So I've taken all the feedback on board. Actually, a lot of people liked them. Some people didn't. I don't like them.
Seen this. Have you put some stuff in pre-recorded? Have you? Or
yes, but listen, it's just a bit of banter, but it's just a laugh at the end of the day. And I put them in just to test things, and I mean, a lot of people there saying it was great, like the clips, etc. I wanted to insert proper clips, but I didn't have time today. It was just a question of putting some clips into the video to see how long it would take to actually edit the thing and then process it and and things like that. A lot of people loved the Show Me the Money one when I was talking about the contract situation. But look, it's just a bit of banter, okay? That's not where the channel's headed. We're not going down the comedy route. We've already got Billy for that. It was just to test about time scales and processing, etc. So that's why that video came out the way it did today. Nothing else about it. They won't stay. They will. If I do insert anything into the videos, there will be a lot more to do with the football side.
I've not seen this yet, so I'll go watch it as well.
Yeah, look, a lot of people saying they liked it. So you're not, listen, when you do a YouTube channel and you do something different, some people are going to like it, some people aren't. But Abs says the tour one was funny, but there were too many. It was just a test run, Abs. That's what I mean. Omar, thank you very much for your super chat. Love the channel, lads. Paul the curry is ready. Thanks, Omar. Niall says people get so upset over anything. Well, to be honest, the nobody was sort of there wasn't any nasty comments. It was all good feedback, which is what I initially wanted anyway. I wanted the feedback, so I've got the feedback, and you know, a lot of people were happy with them. Yeah, it is. Look at the comments.
I didn't like them. I didn't like them. I must be honest.
Well, you just a twat. No, but again, they were there to see the procedure and how long it would take to edit for when I do start putting clips into the video about certain things I'm talking about in the news shows. That's all it was. But thank you, everybody, for the feedback. But anyway, this guy from Norway, guys, who we are linked with, is supposed to be the next Erling Haaland. Listen.
What's his name?
I'm not saying it again.
No, I genuinely need his name because I've been working all day. I know there's been some talk about him, but
Sindre Wally Egali. And that's not how you would say it.
That's going to be easier.
Yeah, I can type a Norwegian name.
I've got no idea who he plays for, Alex. I can't remember.
Okay, somebody help me in the chat. Who does he play for so I can go and add him to the...
His surname is spelled E-G-E-L-I.
E-G-E-L... yeah. Wacky Egley. But listen, he's going to be...
He's come up on FP Ref. He's
well,
youngster,
he played last year in the Norwegian 4th division, Alex. So I don't think he'll come up on FP Ref, to be fair.
Let's dig a bit deeper.
Michael McIntyre, thank you very much for your super chat. Hi, Paul. It's Alice's birthday today. Toon.
Happy birthday, Alice.
Happy birthday, Alice, indeed. Hope you've had a lovely,
next
lovely
door to me
day.
For 24 years, she did.
Yeah. Well done, Billy. Yeah, look, I said this in the news show this afternoon, that I don't like when people are called the next such and such.
I'm sorry. I'm just looking at him now. I'm sorry. Hang on a minute. I'm gonna have to draw a line immediately in the sand. The next Erling Haaland. This kid's 182 centimeters, which is not as tall as Erling Haaland anywhere near. He's a right winger who's left-footed, and he's only 18 years old. Like, you could not profile any differently to Erling Haaland. What on earth? Who's been saying he's the next Erling Haaland? Where's that come from?
He did.
Well,
I've not dug any further than what I'm looking at there. But that to me does not scream.
Craig Hope.
Well, that concerns
was mentioned in the
very
report.
Clever man.
Yeah, look, he is. Listen, this kid is high in demand, right? He is supposed to be the next big thing coming out of Norwegian football. Okay, if he's any sort of patch on Erling Haaland, then you can go and get him. Absolutely, but I don't like it when people say, "Oh, he's the next such and such." Just let them be. I mean, can you imagine being called the next Erling Haaland? The pressure that's going to be on the kid's shoulders. It's
next
wrong.
Jacob Murphy.
Yeah, well. Jock Bar, welcome to membership again, matey. I think that's a renewal, but thank you very much for your support, my friend. You'll have to add a warning or disclaimer on your videos next time, Paul. Well, funny enough, there is a disclaimer now in all of our videos and shows, just about a third of the way down in the description.
Is it just one about Billy, is it?
Well, I mean, we need official ones for Billy. I think we need something from the government, really, for Billy.
Which government?
Yeah,
all the governments around the world.
I don't think William's a fan of yours, Billy. Billy's jokes aren't the best, but it's Billy that makes everyone laugh.
Thank you, William.
Wow. Okay. Julie J says he currently plays for FC Nordisland and the Norway national football team.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys, by the way. Everybody gave us some really good insights there.
Isn't FC Nordland Danish?
It's Danish.
No, that's Midtjylland, isn't it? That's Danish.
No, Nordland's Danish.
Nordland's Danish as well.
Omar says no point celebrating the next Haaland. He'd probably get injured. Yeah,
I mean, the 25th of August, which was a month ago, they beat Copenhagen and he got a goal and an assist in it. So I'll go and do some research on this guy.
Well, he scored 19 goals in 13 games in the Norwegian 4th division last year. Playing for the B team.
Can't be easy. Can't be easy.
No.
It must be the next Alf-Inge Haaland, maybe.
Sorry?
The next Alf-Inge Haaland. Is that?
Maybe Maybe. Do you think Isak has been struggling with his toe injury for a while? He looks slightly off it this season. It's a good point. And again, I mean, but you have to ask yourself, and I've seen people question me when I say about Asula coming in. I had a ridiculous comment on the earlier video this afternoon saying the usual tripe about, oh, what do you know? How do you know what Eddie Howe sees in training? He picks the side, etc. And I kind of politely replied to say that I did, Alex. Are fans not allowed opinions? Do we have to agree with everything Eddie Howe does? No, we don't. We're fans. And if we can all have discussions about what we think we should do, but as Alex says many, many times, we're not qualified football managers at all. But what we are is qualified football fans. And if we want to talk about something, we'll damn well talk about it. And if a football fan was to just say good things about managers or players all the time, what would there be to talk about?
I mean, look, realistically, with our last fixture, guys, I think a lot of us were half right because we were 1-0 down at half time and Eddie Howe came out and made a triple substitution of a lot of the players we wanted to see. So that by default is an admission that it wasn't right. So, we're not professionals, but we're not stupid. Everybody's got eyes and people can see if things aren't necessarily working to a level.
It's just one of those things where, somebody, Billy Big Bollocks, comes in and says, oh, what do you guys know? I'm sorry, but we watch Newcastle every game. Sorry?
I'm getting blamed for that as well, no?
I know. Well, you blame for everything. But, that's my point. Everybody in the chat talks about football. They're not qualified football managers either. So, does that mean we're not allowed to discuss anything and just say, oh, Eddie's right with everything? Because he's not right with everything. No football manager is right with everything. It's mental, man. Anyway, I put a poll up. It basically says, if Isak is injured, would you start Asula? I'm not asking if Eddie will start Asula. I'm asking you guys, would you start Asula if Isak does not make it for the game, regardless of what we think Eddie will do? Trolls, thank you for your super chat, mate. Gelly is Norway's biggest talent and would be great to get him.
There you go.
I'm going to call my cousin after the show and ask how it's pronounced because they live in Norway.
Well, Trolls is from Norway, of course, so he will know.
I know, but everybody's going to give us pronunciation guides in the chat, and that's we're going to butcher it. There's no point. So I'll get a voice note and we'll get it right.
Trolls went on to say the reason they call him the next Haaland is because he scores and plays very much like Haaland. Right? If he does that, then absolutely. Peter, good evening. Tonali and Barnes have to start. Also, Trippier and Willock are knocking on the door as well, and I'd be tempted to start them too as well. We'll discuss the side a bit later on in the show, of course.
We have a game against Wimbledon to consider as well, remember?
Oh, please, Alex. Come on.
Yeah, well, we don't want to do a Man United and get beat 4-0 by McDonald's, do we? Look, they did a few years ago. We've got to be careful.
No, but Man United went out and destroyed Barnsley 7-0. Look, we've got the squad to get past Wimbledon, right?
No.
The Premier League...
We should have the squad.
Yes, we should have the squad. Absolutely.
Let's be careful because we keep getting beaten in the FA Cup. Not this competition, but we keep getting banana skins in cups. So
all right. Really However, he has got to play his best team in the Premier League. I will reiterate this a million times. We have to play our best side in the Premier League. He's got to play his best players. And I will not be changed on that opinion. I just won't.
I'm getting outed here. I still think Longstaff is good. There's nothing wrong with Longstaff. What's wrong with Longstaff?
Liam Gallagher's had a go at him.
Liam Gallagher. All right. Mr. Reactions, good evening to you. I never go cold when Billy is around, forever pitching tents, seeing his beautiful face.
Well, I just don't know what to say about that.
Well, I mean, that's a beautiful thing to say. Billy comes with a government health warning.
Apparently so.
Yeah. Yvonne says, apparently this boy can play across the front three. Yes, he can. But what I'd like to see is actually go for a specialist player. Not one of these that can play in various positions. Let's get a specialist player in. Anjmag, thank you for your 6 months of membership. Really appreciate the support. Evening all. Keep Isak and his toe rested until Man City. I've seen a few people say that they don't really want to. I don't think you play a part at Wimbledon, to be honest. I think that's Jock's actually been a member for 19 months, guys. The dodgy cash machine ate his card, so we had to change everything over. Slothy says, not a fan of round pegs in square holes. Asula needs to play through the middle Saturday. I mean, look, we may as well. I mean, obviously, Gordon has been spoke about playing through the middle, but I made a point earlier on today and said that, when we played Wolves, there was a distinct lack of crosses into the box. If you looked when the wingers had the ball and they had opportunities to cross, and Billy, we mentioned this number of times in commentary, that there was nobody there. There was no.
You don't have anybody that could win anything in the air. That's why.
Yeah, there's no focal point there.
There's no point.
Anthony Gordon, for all the skills he's got in the world, is not going to rough up a centre half or cause problems in the 6-yard area by brute strength. He's built like a twig, so he's not gonna do that job. Asula, whether he's a goal scorer or not, for me, he's a big bulky lad and he will get stuck in. And maybe if he played Asula, this is just my opinion, but if he played Asula, gets into the centre backs, that will free up a bit more space for the likes of Gordon and Barnes cutting into the box and doing their thing. And who knows, a cross into the box may just be what we want for Asula to get his head on it. I don't know what you guys think, Billy. I mean, for me, it's a valid point, I think.
I agree with you at the time when it happened. But I've had second thoughts since. And you've got to think, who would Mosquera and Dawson rather be facing? Would they want a nippy, quick, skillful centre-forward, dropping deep, running the channels like Gordon did? Or would they prefer a more bulky, physical centre-half? I know Craig Dawson would prefer to play against. It'd be Asula all day, every day. Especially with his naivety and non-experience. So, we did kind of change the way we played and created chances in the second half as well. I mean, the Tonali chance late on was a perfect example of that. Midfielders running from deep. So I think we kind of tailored our game to play with a quick and nippy centre forward, and I think we'll go that way Saturday as well. Because I think Bassi and Anderson will eat up Asula. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've seen people say, in the comments from the earlier show, saying that Asula's not ready for the Premier League. Then why have we signed him and put him on the bench?
That's
what is the point? What is the point of having a player that you've paid? What was he, 10 million or something? Why buy him and sit him on the bench if he's not going to be involved when we don't have a fit striker? I mean, this was the discussion in the summer about Isak and Wilson. You can't rely on them to stay fit. They're both made of glass. Whatever you say, Isak is also he's injury prone, and we've seen that since he signed for Newcastle. So why, if we've gone and got a third striker, are we not using him when both the other strikers are injured? I don't quite understand it.
Because Gordon is the third choice, not Asula. Asula is an emergency backup. He is the development striker who is learning the system and understanding how to play the Newcastle way, which is a Lewis Hall thing that he said.
But I'm a bit bored of this Newcastle way, Alex. It's becoming a bit of a farce.
I disagree. I completely disagree. Based on how we played, you can all you want, but based on the previous fixture,
I will all I want. Thank you.
Based on the previous fixture, I think the proof of everything Eddie Howe has been choosing was in that match. Lewis Hall running through treacle and couldn't finish a game, and we could see the obvious holes in Lewis Hall's game. Even though he's a fantastic player, we could see issues in certain players' games who were starting in that match. So all of us have been crying for ages for Livramento to start here, Hall to start here, this player to start there, this player to start in that position. We were all crying for it. He did it. It wasn't working. Absolutely.
Yeah,
when we
but
can
if
see
Asuela's
holes in their
not going to
game.
get any time on the pitch, Alex, how is he going to get up to speed?
It doesn't matter. It's not about him getting up to speed. It's not about him getting up to
I think
speed.
he'll play Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever the game is.
I think he'll play Tuesday. I agree with that.
It's not about him getting up to speed. He's an emergency backup that's been brought in as a development player who will play if we absolutely need him to. He would rather use Gordon, who's played centre forward, understands the system way more than Asuela, who's still learning. And as exactly what Billy said, I completely agree with him. Against experienced centre halves, he's going to be naive. He's not going to understand the system as well. He's not going to understand defensive set plays as well. He's not going to be in the right place in defense.
No, he's not. But Gordon's not a striker. That's that.
Yeah, but he's more accomplished and ready in that.
But
role
I don't think he offers as much
right
through
now
the middle as what he does on the wing.
Offers,
I really don't think.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
That's what Jazz says as well. Gordon never offers as much through the middle. Here's a thought, guys. Just to swap it around instead of maybe Asuela, but maybe put Willock in midfield and Big Joe back up front for a game. That would certainly ruffle feathers. I mean, it could work, and if it doesn't, then change it. But
it's the Premier League, and it's about the best 11 that could get the 3 points. I think Gordon's probably the safest option.
Well, yes, I agree with that. He's the safest option, but is he the best option? I'm not so sure.
If Gordon plays through the middle, we have to change our team to Cato, and I think that means Tonali will definitely start to kind of create chances differently.
He cannot possibly leave Tonali out again. Surely, I think it doesn't matter who's up front. He cannot sit Tonali again. I think that would be criminal. Anyway, let's have a look at what people voted in the poll. Simply asked, if Isak is injured, would you start Asuela? What do you reckon, guys?
What would they start Asuela?
Would the fans start Asuela?
60-40 in favour, I'd say.
Yeah, I think they could say about 60% would say yes.
90% would start Asuela.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot of you going to be really upset on Saturday then.
Well, it's actually 89-11, but there you go. I mean, that's incredible. That I must admit, I wasn't expecting that.
I'll be shocked if he starts him on Saturday. It's going to be Gordon.
Slothy says Asuela, Gordon, and Barnes can all interchange and cause havoc. Fulham will have no idea about Asuela and could really get into them. LG says if we don't play Asuela, sell him at Christmas, as he's never going to start if Wilson comes back or not.
He is a development player. He's learning. He will start to be integrated into the team.
Yeah, but how long do we go on with development players, Alex, when we want to win things? We need an elite squad.
Well, yeah, but we can't afford to. We can't afford to buy a Tonali standard signing.
I understand that. I understand that.
That's why we did Livramento and Lewis Hall style signings. Asuela, I feel, is in the same kind of vein as a Livramento Hall. Is they think he's got all the right attributes to be kind of groomed into this fantastic striker if he works. It's because we can't buy a Tonali in every position. We can't.
No, we can't. No, absolutely not. But you know, I just
saying sell him by Christmas if we've not used him yet is a ridiculous comment. He's a development player. It's going to take a couple of years.
But the problem we've got is still the problem we were talking about in the summer regarding strikers, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's the same problem.
The third choice striker hasn't solved
it. Third choice striker, and we know from experience, and surely the club should have known this as well, that Isak and Wilson cannot be trusted to stay fit. As good as Isak is, as good as Wilson is, they are injury prone, and we haven't covered that position with anybody. Obviously, with anybody that can now step in when they're both out injured again.
I think Asuela, by Christmas, he'll be fine because he will have played some Premier League minutes. He will have played some cup minutes. He'll be way more used to the team, and he will be more dependable and relied upon by Eddie Howe, especially come the start of 2025, because he will have been with the team for 6 months. He understands what's expected of him. He understands the system, and he's probably got some proper games in the team. But it's really early doors for him. People saying he played in the Premier League last year. Yeah, did you watch that Sheffield United side? They were absolute dog. They were dog, and I don't think. I'd love to see how Mbappe would do in that Sheffield United side, because he'd have to literally take everybody on himself.
Martin, I'm not sure. Murphy's been terrible since pre-season, so we need to try Miggy.
I mean, Murphy's struggled a little bit.
He has, yeah.
I think Murphy couldn't argue if Miggy got a game. Like, I don't particularly want that. I'd rather see Gordon and Barnes. But if Miggy gets the nod, Murphy can't really kick up too much of a fuss because he's not been great.
No, he hasn't. Laura says, Eddie Howe is so predictable. It will be Gordon up front, and Fulham will be prepared for this in training.
So maybe, but then maybe he's a good play.
Yeah, but listen, I mean, Isak needs to step up if he does play because he's been poor this season. He's been poor. His hold-up play has been non-existent. But we know what he's got in his locker. We just, it's just weird. It's weird. By the way, I watched a video earlier on today that my good old matey Paul Gallant calling out the true Geordie. Dear me, calling out a guy with over 2 million subscribers. I
mean, I didn't like his most recent video. I don't like breathing life into this civil war topic. I think
I think it's the first video he's done on it. To be honest with you,
I don't think there is a civil war. I think it's been blown completely out of proportion.
I don't think there is, but some of the conversation was decent about Eddie Howe in the England situation. I thought that was really good.
I didn't watch it based on the title because I don't know.
It was quite well put. I enjoyed it actually, and there was some good points made talking about Eddie in England and the pull, and if he doesn't get his way at Newcastle, would he see a chance to win things with England, given the players that are now available in that international job? He has a chance to take them to silverware, no doubt about it. It was an interesting conversation. But Billy, we looked at a photo before. We thought that Paul Gallant had married John Sinclair.
We did, yeah. It's a very odd photo.
I mean, congratulations. Anyway, obviously we'll talk about the right back situation now, Alex, and I think the right back situation is going to be a big decision because I don't think Livramento has played very well at all in the last few games, and it's calling for Trippier to be back.
Yeah, I think it's hard to disagree with that, to be honest.
Alex is I don't know what's happened to Stato.
Jesus, guys. Trippier needs to play against Fulham. I really like Livramento, and Livramento is the future of being the right back at the club. But I not liked how he's been playing recently. Not necessarily his fault. I just feel like it's a square peg in a round hole, trying to get him to invert and do a lot of eye of the needle, threaded, passy kind of. I mean, that's Trippier's game. If we want a bombing fullback to overlap all day, absolutely start Tino Livramento. But what he was asking Livramento to do last game is Kieran Trippier's bread and butter. I would much rather have Kieran Trippier in this game. I think Livramento is fantastic, but we've got some cup games coming up. We can rotate. We'll soon be in December. There's going to be loads of fixtures. There's no problem. There's no issue with having the two right backs. I think we can share the minutes. If anything, now Billy's going to hate this. He's going to hate me saying this. I do think Livramento at left back for one of the next two fixtures might even be appropriate. I don't think he's going to do that because we've got Lloyd Kelly and Lewis Hall, but I'm not massively against it. But I do think it needs to be Lloyd Kelly and Kieran Trippier in this fixture, 100%.
Billy, what would you do?
I'm with Stato, Lloyd Kelly and Kieran Trippier. They've got pace down the flanks. So whoever plays in front of Trippier's got to be switched on defensively. Robinson and is it Tete the other side? They're pretty good. Both of them, both pretty quick.
I mean, look, one thing we do have to improve on, guys, is set pieces, because so far this season, the set pieces have been absolutely dross. Let's be honest.
I changed my mind as well because LG is telling me that Kelly's a centre back, not left back. All right, I changed my mind. I want Dan Burn at left back, just to annoy LG.
Alex, you are triggered so easy. Talk about me.
Let's put Fabian Chair right back. Why not? Sod it.
I'd put Fabian Schär up front, maybe bring Kraft back, but there you go. That'll just rattle you a bit more. C15 Rice says, guys, relax. If we win against Fulham and City Arsenal draw, we go top. If Arsenal win by 1 goal and we score more than 2, we go top. So, yeah, there is a big chance that we could finish the weekend top of the Premier League, which would be very, very nice.
If the dog hadn't stopped his shit, he'd have caught the rabbit.
Yes. Sometimes yeah. John says need Tonali and Willock to play and supply Isak if he plays. But this thing about set pieces, guys, I mean, what is going on the training ground that they just cannot get these?
They're terrible.
But
it's everybody, isn't it? It's everybody. It's Gordon.
Yeah.
It's Lewis Hall. It's Kieran Trippier. Anybody. It's Murphy on occasion. Anybody who's taking a set piece. I can't remember a positive one. I can't remember in the last 6 weeks going, "Whoa, that was cool. That was new. That nearly worked. That was he did it." Don't remember that. Not once.
They tried to pull back one twice last week. Both times it was dreadful.
It's awful. I mean, there was a little bit of. I liked the fact that we had Lewis Hall and Kieran Trippier on at the same time because there were a couple of moments where they didn't know who to close down because they didn't know which angle it was going to come in from, the left foot or the right foot. That was cool, but then the execution was abysmal and it didn't work. It was good in theory, but do I blame Jason Tindall? Not overly, because I feel like the executions have been just so poor. The first deliveries, Jason Tindall can't make Kieran kick it any better. Well, I mean, I guess he can. He's a coach. But
but that's the thing, isn't it? They can try it in training many, many times, and it comes down to on the day the players that are taking the set pieces and. Whether it be Gordon or Trippier,
Dan Burn, who cuts it back across to absolutely no one. Like it's getting to the point now where it's becoming a concern because set pieces are a nice little weapon in a team's arsenal, and we are just so bad at them offensively.
We should be really strong with them as well with a 6'7" centre half who fortunately can't head the ball properly. That's the problem. Got a lot of it as well. I mean, he's got to be on a sixpence for him to score, really.
I mean, we used to have this thing, didn't we, a few years ago? And
Mike Williamson.
Just the same thing over and over again. Mike Williamson at the back post to head it back across. And it's getting that way again. Back post to Dan Burn to head across. And it fails 90%, 95, 99% of the time. It fails. So they've got to try something different. I mean, surely, like, Tonali is in... I want to see Tonali on set pieces, to be honest, because we saw him in the under-23 championships taking free kicks, and every single one of them hit an Italian head. He was just.
If you think about recent memory of decent set pieces, I've got vivid memories of Joe Linton scoring some great headers in the last couple of years. I don't have memories of Dan Burns cutbacks doing much. I mean, please in the chat correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't remember. Like a Dan Burn back post across goal, thump, it goes in the back of the net. I can't physically remember anything that's worked. Yeah. All I remember is like Joe Linton's thunder headers that have gone in. When has it ever worked? When it's gone to Dan Burn? It just doesn't.
Well, I mean, look, sometimes we take set pieces, right? And
okay, PSG, that's one. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, but you kind of when you're commentating, and Billy, you'll know this, and the set piece is taken, and then you're kind of sitting there going, "What was that?"
You get excited for it, don't you? And you think, "Oh, yeah."
Like when we get a corner, everyone's like, all the fans like, "Come on!" And then we know that most of the time the corners come to nothing, and then a free kick. It just.
This is in Mourinho's book. This is in Jose Mourinho's book. Oh, when it goes out of play for a corner in England, the fans cheer like it's a goal. But statistically, corners, you just don't score from corners very often at all. And
by the way, Alex,
nobody in Europe understands why we get so excited for corners. Most people in Europe take short corners to recycle possession because you don't score from corners very often.
By the way, you missed Matt Target out of a left back situation, mate. He's still here.
Oh no.
I put another poll up as well, guys. Who would you start, Joe Linton or Willock? If they are going to be playing in midfield, has Willock done enough to maybe sort of rotate Joe Linton and put Joe Linton on the bench? Let us know. That poll is up now. Who would you start, Joe Linton or Willock? So, I mean, I know who I'd start at the minute.
Callum
Marcus
Willock.
is all right, lads. Callum Willock, yes. Unsure if this has been mentioned about Pope, but can he work with the outfield coaches? Would this not help him with his feet as he's rats when a ball comes to him?
He probably has been.
Yeah. We discussed this last show that it looks like he's been hitting the head with the cricket bat whenever the ball is approaching him.
Yeah. It worries everybody when they see a back pass coming back to Nick Pope and he's being pressured by a forward. You literally my anus is in my mouth every time. Because he does sometimes.
But you can bet, can't you? You can bet it's going to be an opposition throw.
Yeah, because
every time,
especially if it's on his left side, he slices it every time. Yep. And actually, he slices the ball a lot. If you watch Nick Pope's, kicking, not necessarily from a standing goal kick, but when it's played back to him and then he either passes it out or he launches it, he slices it a hell of a lot.
Given the alternative, you take it, don't you? Because if he doesn't slice it, some of the times there's got a striker tap it into an empty net.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of Mike Williamson, he's just got the Carlisle job today. By the way,
yeah.
Didn't he go to? What happened to McDonald's? Did it just not happen there?
It's a cursed city. Nobody works there.
Well, I can see.
He got beat by one of the concrete cows in a race.
Concrete cows. Yes, it's a beautiful concrete setup. Nick says our set pieces have been shite for years. We went over 12 months without scoring from a corner. Yeah. Alex, got any graphics for us tonight?
I have got some, yeah.
Well, if we have a look at the opposition, and then we'll try and put a team together.
Oh God, hang on! I was looking at funny Norwegian boy. Let's go back to Fulham. Right, so some interesting recent games. Stranger in a form for them. They beat. So hang on, how did they start the season? So they lost. They actually beat Hoffenheim. They started the season losing to Man United 1-0. I think a lot of people did watch that game because I think it was a Friday night. Yeah. Friday night. Yeah. So a lot of people did watch that. Man United massively got away with that. Fulham were quite good. Fulham then beat Leicester 2-1. Let's have a look at the goal scorer, shall we? If it's going to show, it was Iwobi and Emil Smith-Rowe.
Yeah.
They beat Birmingham 2-0 in the EFL Cup, which they probably should do because Birmingham are in League One and signed Alfie May, who was Charlton's top scorer in League One. So again, it is very much a League One side. Ipswich, they drew 1-1 with. West Ham, they drew 1-1 with. And then obviously they had that narrow defeat in the Cup, which was a bonkers record-breaking penalty shootout against Preston. Well done to, of course, one of our own in Freddie Woodman, who did fantastic in the penalty. Well, I say fantastic. I guess he conceded an absolute bunch. So maybe,
maybe a lot of goals scored. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to bring your attention to the lineups of these games. So the Preston North End game. So I think they've got quite a lot of depth, Fulham. I actually like their squad makeup. They've got a lot of rotation. They signed quite well in the summer. If I do have it here. So this was their summer. They brought in Reece Nelson on loan. They, of course, got Anderson from Crystal Palace, who we've been big fans of. He's very much the kind of left-sided version of Fabian Schär in a way in the Premier League, in my opinion. Sander Berger,
yeah, he was linked with us, wasn't he?
He was as kind of a late Shelvey. Was it a Shelvey replacement?
I think so. Yeah. It just didn't happen. Funny enough.
Jorge Cuenca from Villarreal, who I don't know much about personally. Emil Smith-Rowe, of course, was quite a big signing for them. Ryan Sessegnon on a free, I think, is a great pickup because I think he's very underrated. And Armando Broja on loan, or Broja, however we're supposed to say that.
Season, wasn't it?
Was that last season? Has he gone back?
He's at Everton, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, Broja's at Everton. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my apologies. I'm reading a line too far. So not Broja. It ends at Ryan Sessegnon. So I think they've recruited fairly well, to be honest. And if we go to the Preston North End game, I mean, this is their cup rotation side. So it's got Castagna, who's a Premier League level player. Ryan Sessegnon is a left back. Harrison Reed and Sander Berger in midfield is okay. Reece Nelson, Harry Wilson on either side. Tom Kearney in behind Rodrigo Moniz. So for a second string side, I don't think that's that bad. I think that's quite good. And then when we go and have a look at their West Ham team, this is what you would consider to be their first team. You've then got Anthony Robertson, Tete, Anderson, and Bassi as the back four. Leno in goal, of course, is the captain, a good keeper. Sasha Lukic with Andres Pereira in midfield. Iwobi and Traore on the wing, with Smith Rowe supporting Raul Jimenez. So they've got two reasonably strong 11s, in my opinion. I think they're more than good enough to be a mid-table side in the Prem. Good depth, reasonable quality. They play decent football, and they are not, again, one of these teams. Very much, I get the sort of Bournemouth vibes out of Fulham, in that we cannot underestimate them. They have shades of quality in this side, bit of structure, nice balance, different options they could use. We have to be quite careful. They're not a terrible side, although they've been getting a lot of draws, and it's not been fantastic. Their average positions. So it looks, is that Fulham? Yeah. So very squashed, very low blocky.
Of course, they like to keep things quite thin, don't they?
Well, they were having to deal with Kudus and Bowen from West Ham. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know who they're most likely to start. I would imagine it's going to be something more similar to this lineup against us. Yeah. But, of course, they've got Ryan Sessegnon. Again, their game against Preston North End was on the 17th. So Saturday is what date is Saturday?
21st.
Is the 21st. So that'll be a few days. So we might get somebody potentially like Ryan Sessegnon force his way in. There might be the odd change potentially. So we'll have to wait and see. But I can't
Traore, whatever you say about Traore, he's rapid. He's always a threat. And of course, there will be on the other side. I mean, he played well against us last season, if I remember rightly.
Very combative, isn't he? Difficult.
Yeah, there's a lot of pace on either side for Fulham. So again, the question of who would go left back against Traore. Because
it depends which Traore turns up. Again, it's very Alan St. Maximin, isn't it? It depends if Traore decides that.
Absolutely, yeah,
unplayable, but it doesn't do that very often. So it's
the worry I have with that, though, guys, is that if Traore is on it, and looking at Lewis Hall, the fact that he cramps up very quickly. If he's sprinting most of that first half, if Iwobi gets a lot of the ball, fitness is going to come into it as well. Because look how we finished the Wolves game.
I mean, we've got very early data. I don't like using stats too early in the season. These are their team averages so far. Of course, we are only a handful of games in, so it's a very small sample size. Our data, for example, is in the bin because we started off with a red card against Southampton. We played purposefully defensive against Spurs. So a lot of our data is very deceptive into how we can play.
David, I don't know whether you've been watching the show, mate, but we covered Steve Hardwick at the start. So you can take your 3 exclamation marks and stick them where the sun don't shine. Carry on, Alex.
So far in the league, in terms of their dominance on the ball, 51.1% possession in 9th in the league. That is their average so far. Again, that's very dependent on who they've played, but they've played some good teams like West Ham and stuff. They've had a tough start. They played, I guess, Man United. Maybe you could argue isn't the greatest team. XG in 15th at 4.7 is a little bit meh. But again, we're very early. This is probably a little bit too. Not enough data to be making good assumptions on. Accurate passes in 10th, so right in the middle of the pack. And a lot of the other data probably I wouldn't use. Accurate long balls as well. I mean, again, this is a reasonable showing as to how sometimes even a small sample size shows you how the team plays, because Everton, you can see, are first for accurate long balls and third for accurate crosses. So you can see the dice ball in there. However, up in first is Fulham. So they are trying to get balls into Raul Jimenez. They do have that kind of that idea.
That's not really surprising with the 2 wingers they've got, is it? With Traore and Iwobi, it's quite I would expect them to have a lot of crosses.
Well, 22 accurate long balls and 7-ish crosses per game. And let's not forget, these are 7 accurate crosses. So these are crosses that have connected. So I don't know what the statistic is for the volume they actually try. It might be 20, 25, it might be loads. So we're going to have to be quite switched on to that, which is, again, another reason why I think Lloyd Kelly might play, and possibly even Kieran Trippier, because he's great at back post defensive headers. He's better in the air than Tino at the moment. I know Trippier's not the tallest guy, but he is good at defensive headers for his height. I don't really want to go into too much more detail on their stats because, like I said, very small sample size. I don't know if we have a predicted lineup from FOTMob for this game. We can check. No, not yet. All they're telling us is that Carlos Vinicius is injured and that we have quite a few 5 out with Isak. Apparently he's doubtful with an eye injury. Craig Hope would disagree. Apparently it's his toe. So
that's what we thought. We thought it was an eye injury, but I agree. It's his toe. Now, putting the side together, I agree with a lot of what people are saying in the chat. I think Lloyd Kelly starts at left back. I don't know whether you guys agree with me, but
I agree. Yeah,
I'm going to put my team up because why not? You
can get long stuff off that pitch immediately.
I would like to see. You're gonna absolutely hate me for this because you know what I'm going to do. I would like to see that.
Good night, everybody.
Almiron did well at Fulham, to be fair.
He likes playing Fulham. He quite a good goal.
He does. He likes a goal against Fulham. Yeah, he does. I'm not sure about Joe Linton. Shall we have a look at the poll, guys? While we
actually, no. You are right. I don't want Joe Linton. I would prefer Willock. I just forgot to change him. Where's Willock?
Is he on the injured list on the other side still?
Oh,
there he is.
There he is.
He's injured. He's always kind of out of the way. There we go.
Right. Well,
that's what I would prefer.
What do you reckon to the poll, guys? Joe Linton or Willock to start? What do you think the viewers have said?
I don't know. I really don't know. Could be 50-50.
66% want Willock to start.
Wow. Well, I do as well, to be fair. That's the exact side I'd pick.
Well, it's gone to 67 now, but it's close enough. I agree. I would love to see Willock come in. I think he's... the thing is with Willock, every time he's been on the pitch for us this season, things happen. And good things have happened when he's been on the pitch. And again, I don't want Eddie sitting him on the bench and saying, he's not fit enough. Start him and then take him off if needs be in the second half. But give us an opportunity to see him, play from the start and let's cause Fulham all the problems in the world and then change it. If
the thing is with Willock in there, with Willock in there, he helps with the pace of Troy Owen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I also think having Willock there, it's a stronger midfield, because Tonali or Bruno can sit. We've seen Bruno go a lot further forward when Tonali's been on the pitch as well. I think it just gives us a better balance at the minute. I don't know what's wrong with Big Joe. He's just not quite at the races at the moment. He will be at the races, but when he's not, then obviously we have a player like Willock to come in.
And for my reasoning for Miggy as well, I think Iwobi is an absolute handful. I don't. Murphy, by the way, out of 9 duels last game, contested, won 0. Murphy was trash physically last game, and I think we need to be able to deal with Iwobi. We need to deal with that physicality on both sides. And I think Miggy and Trippier make sense with the experience, and Miggy because he will never give up, which I think in this game we need that. If he's going to have a funny day where his left foot doesn't work, he doesn't have a right foot, fine, whatever. I do feel like we've got enough with Barnes, Gordon, Willock, Tonali, Bruno. I feel like that fixes the creative problem. I feel like that's enough.
What if he's fit though, Stasso? What do you do then?
If
Isak's fit, he's got to play Gordon, Barnes on the wings, hasn't he?
It's going to have to be Isak up front with Gordon on the right. It's got to be that. But I don't think Isak's going to play, and I think that's probably the best thing to contain Fulham. I don't think Murphy's the right answer against Iwobi. I think Murphy's going to lose a lot of duels, and
he was dreadful at Fulham last year. I mean, as bad as it gets.
He was.
He
Yeah.
seriously was.
LG says, yes, Miggy can run up and down and do nothing.
Well, he's done well
I
at Fulham in the
understand.
past. He scored probably his best
and
goal.
I think because of Iwobi as well. But look, there's
but LG Murphy did absolutely nothing as well last week. He won 0 duels, 0. That's not good enough. And Iwobi is even stronger, so that concerns me.
I mean, the Murphy performance at Craven Cottage last year was akin to Kennedy's at Cardiff. It was that bad.
It was bad, but I agree. I think we've got a lot of firepower in that starting 11. If Isak's, even when Isak's not there, Barnes can score goals. Willock certainly can. Tonali, Bruno, if he pulls the trigger, we know sometimes Bruno he's a bit reluctant to pull the trigger on the edge of the box, and I don't know why that is. Fabian Schär
last year did it distance, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Fabian Schär also can hit thunder bullets.
What do we think Eddie's most likely lineup is then?
Oh God,
I think Eddie's most likely lineup is probably. I think he might give Miggy the nod. I think this is possibly what Eddie would go for. I'd like to see Trippier come in though, personally. And I'd like Willock to play, but I think there's probably an element of Willock maybe isn't ready to start yet.
Yeah, maybe.
So he might start Joe Linton.
Yeah, but Willock played the full. The reason I'm saying start Willock is because he played the full second half at Wolves, didn't he? He played the full 45. Yeah. So give him an hour. Give him an hour. Yeah. And if he does tire, then take him out. I mean, Willock is known to tire in games anyway. So, give him the hour or Eddie o'clock, whatever it may be. But I just think maybe, to rotate Joe Linton might just give him the fire back in his belly and the kick up the arse to say, look, there is a player there who will take your place if you don't perform. He's got to be, we've talked about this many, many times before, saying that Eddie has to be ruthless in certain situations and prove to these players that he's not going to accept players just not being at it. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to demonstrate that on Saturday.
Yeah. Does anybody think that Murphy plays?
I don't think so.
No, I to be honest, I mean, it's that right side, our right wing is just, I mean, what can you say? It's. The
thing is Murphy goes through phases where he's great, and we're like,
maybe he will play Livramento on the right wing and play Trippier behind him. He could do. If he's that worried about it, won't be.
Well, yeah, that's going to be on his mind, isn't it? The two wingers are going to be on his mind for Fulham. I mean, Jimenez doesn't really scare me anymore. He tore us apart at Wolves a couple of years ago, but I mean, he's not exactly set the world on fire anymore, does he? I think Burn and Schär can take care of him. I think it's the wingers that worry me the most. Iwobi and Traore. We have to defend well. We have to be aware of crosses coming into the box because, like we've seen on that stat, Fulham do like to put the crosses in. So we have to be wary of. You can shake that away now, Alex. Don't be sneaking him on the pitch.
Don't forget, Timothy Robertson's got rapid speed as well.
He has. He has left back. Yeah.
So maybe Livramento on that right wing works.
Do
you want to do the most pointless poll in history? Do you want to do a Tonali versus Longstaff?
No. Well, we will see. We will see by 1:45 on.
What would you guys do? What do you want me to change in this for your lineup?
Well, that team we had up before.
Yeah, that would be our team. Your favourite. Yeah, it would be.
I think we're all agreed to that. Yeah,
Miggy over Murphy.
And Willock in for Joe Linton.
I know. I mean that then makes the bench what? The bench is going to end up looking like. How many we got on a bench? 9.
It's still a decently strong bench.
That's 6. We need a goalkeeper. John, come over here.
It's not going to be Ruddy. It's going to be Dubravka, isn't it?
Okay, fine. That's sorry, John. Away you go.
By the way, Sanusi was in the training videos as well. So maybe he'll
be involved against Wimbledon, won't he?
Yeah. How many is that? 2, 4,
That's
6,
8.
8. Well, you can put Matty Target on there. Yeah,
Target, there you go. That's 9. So that's a reasonable bench.
Yeah, it's Peter Garthwaite, thank you for your super chat. Eddie Howe is not ruthless. That's our big problem. Well, hopefully he is, and he will demonstrate that at the weekend. Anyway, it is.
Miley's injured.
Miley's back in training though. He is on the grass, but he's not in
What did
full.
we do with Joe White? Did we send him out on loan? Or was he injured?
I think he's on loan. I'm sure he's on loan. I can't remember where he's at though, but I'm pretty sure he's gone on loan. Right, let's do predictions, guys, because we're at the hour now. So get your predictions in the chat, guys. Let us know what you think the score is going to be. Alex, we'll put you on the spot first tonight. What do you reckon?
I'll go 2-0. I want a clean sheet. I think he's going to bring Trippier in and Lloyd Kelly, and I think we're going to be very careful. I think Tonali plays. I think we don't get. I think Eddie Howe is going to be absolutely furious with the defensive performance against Wolves and some of the way we handle defensive transitions. I think there's going to be there will have been a lot of work done and shouting and a few changes, and I think we will get a clean sheet. And I think we've got enough creativity to get 2 goals, and I think they will come from. Ooh, that's a really good question. I think Willock will get one, and I think Gordon will get one. 2-0.
2-0. I believe that if we play that team that we all three of us agree on, I think this is the moment we turn up, and I think 4-1 to Newcastle. Having said that, if we go to what Eddie might do, I think we'll probably be enough for a 2-1 or something like that. But I'm going 4-1. ADB's gone 7-0 again. Ruffy Benisian 2-1 to Newcastle. Eric Little says 3-0 to Toon. Chris Lynch says 1-1. I Like Coffee says Asula hat-trick. Jesus. Les Kenny says 2-0 to the Toon. Stephen Harker 3-0 to Newcastle. John Green says 3-1 to Newcastle with Barnes, Willock and Tonali scoring. Billy, what are you going for?
I think we score early and we then beat them in counter-attacking football and destroy them. 3-0 Newcastle.
3-0. Oh, that sounds good. That sounds good to me. Steve Cook's going 3-0. Mick Law says a 3-2 win. Seaside Tooney 2-2. Bruv Butler's going 4-1 as well. Nice. Listen, we've got to turn up at some stage. You know, it's a cliche, but we're due to give someone a hammering, surely. You know, the games we've seen so far this season, we're due to give someone a battering, and I really genuinely hope if it's that team that we've picked there, I think that team goes out and destroys Fulham. I really do. But time will tell. But thank you very much for watching, guys. We are back at 11:30 live in the morning with the press conference reaction. We'll have a chat with you all about what Eddie had to say ahead of the game. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, is, of course, TTR Friday. Don't miss that. Great banter as well. Football chat and, of course, fan forum. So you guys can join us live on the show, have your say about things. So if we go with Paul's team, we win 4-1. If we go with Eddie's team, absolutely struggling to understand what I meant. I mean, Jesus, honestly. Anyway, so yeah, TTR Friday tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and then 2:30 on Saturday afternoon. Join me and Billy for full live uninterrupted commentary of Fulham against Newcastle United. Half an hour build up to the game, and then commentary, and then we will have a little chat after the game about what happened, what went wrong, and then we'll have the review on Monday night. Sunday night is the review. Monday night is the Wimbledon preview, and again, live commentary on Tuesday night of the Carabao Cup game at Plough Lane. So lots to come on the Toon Review. So please give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the show. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. Free to do so. Make sure you hit the notification bell though, so you never miss an upload or a live show. Thank you for everybody for your super chats and memberships. Mods, thank you again. Great work. And of course, thank you to Billy and Alex. But again, thank you to you guys out there. You make this channel what it is. So thank you very much for taking part in all the chats and polls and everything like that. But thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening, folks. And we'll see you all again at 11:30 in the morning. Good night.
Give them a good cottage in.
Come back and check out the breeze.